Growing up with a growing understanding speech pathology. Conversations about children's development that will support you through your parenting journey.
Hi, I'm Lauren from A Growing Understanding, and welcome to the Growing Up podcast. This is where we have real and practical conversations about children's communication and feeding development, helping parents to feel supported, informed, and empowered. Each episode, I'll sit down with one of our amazing team members to share insights, answer some common questions, and give you some useful strategies that you can take into everyday life. So whether you're wondering if your child may need some support or looking for some tips to help their progress, or perhaps you might like to better understand their journey, this podcast is here to help. If this sounds like it may be helpful, make sure to follow along and let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of Growing Up with a Growing Understanding. We're going to dive into some of the important aspects of ethical family-centered care, ensuring that our practices are genuinely inclusive. And in Pride Month, we are looking at inclusive care for our LGBTQ children, families, and team members. At A Growing Understanding, we're not just focused on clinical excellence, we're here to lead positive change in the speech pathology profession. And today I'm joined by Emma, our clinical director, to talk really openly about some of the inclusive practices that we've embedded at A Growing Understanding, why they matter, and how they reflect our core purpose. We really are looking to raise the standard of services across Australia by advocating for care that's ethical, evidence-based, and truly responsive to the needs of every family. So thanks for chatting with me about this today, Em.
Thanks for having me, Lauren.
So I want to start off by a bit of the why. So why is this important to you? Why is it important to us at A Growing Understanding to be embedding some of the LGBTQ inclusive practices?
Yeah, so for myself and for our service, I really want everyone to feel welcome. The LGBTQ plus community do face lots of health disparities. We are a health service, and I want them to feel safe entering our service, knowing that we do understand and we're learning and we're embedding inclusive practice into everything that we do. Our team have had lots of training to understand their needs, and we're going to talk to them as they come through as well to understand what those are. So it's really important to create, not only a safe space, but one where everyone feels welcome, no matter who they are.
Yeah, and that is just so important to all of us at A Growing Understanding, is we want it to feel like a warm and welcoming space, regardless of who you are. We sort of recognize as well, we do recognize that this is a journey and this is a process. It's not just something that we claim. It's not something that we are putting up on our website as being. It's something that we're continuing to learn and to understand. And I say that, myself as the owner and practice director, I'm continually learning, and it's through conversations like this that you and I have and that we have as a service. I'm really wanting to dive into and to share with some of our community about what are some of the changes and some of the things that we've been doing at A Growing Understanding to make it a little bit safer, to make it feel welcoming to people within the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, so I think the first thing to talk about probably is that we do have a membership with Pride in Health and Wellbeing, thanks to a grant that we obtained from the Primary Health Network. This mentorship through Pride in Health and Wellbeing, they are members of the community to consult with. They understand best practice in this space, and they've been really pivotal in supporting us to embed inclusive practice for our LGBTQ plus community. So we have monthly mentoring meetings with them to work on all different areas.
Thanks for touching on some of the grants that we've received in order to be able to support our membership with Pride in Health. And I know that this has been, we've been successful with a couple of grants now, which has supported us to be able to make some of these actions and the initiatives within our service. Can you explain a little bit about Pride in Health and dive into, I guess, trying to give some foundational understanding about what is Pride in Health and how did we start? How do we, and I say this so that we can explore with our community about what it actually looks like. So we had our intention about what we were trying to do. And this has been something that we've been working on for 3 years, and it's something that we're continually refining. So that's, I think, I'd like you to just dive into a little bit about who is Pride in Health and where was our starting point, because I think that will start to touch on the Health and Equality Index and
Yeah, so Pride and Health and Wellbeing are one of 3 different groups who sit under ACON. So there's Pride in Health and Wellbeing, Pride in Diversity, and Pride in Sport. Pride in Health and Wellbeing are a service who look after and support the health, wellbeing, and human service providers out there.
And so that's why we're working with them as a speech pathology service, and in that health space, we're looking at the health and well-being of our community. So it is our clients, it is the children that we're working with, it's their families, but it's also the broader community as well. I think our community want to hear about how we got started. So I think if you can share about what that initial step was. This process has been happening for us for over 3 years now. So what did that look like in the very beginning? What were our first steps that we had to undertake as a service to be able to undertake the work that we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first thing was to look at a bit of a gap analysis. This included, surveying our team and working with Pride in Health and Wellbeing to look at, what our current practice is, how can we progress the work and the things that we did have in place, looking at policies and procedures and intake processes and so many different things, which I can touch on in more detail later once we get into the Equality Index.
So you just mentioned it just now. But I do want to dive into it. You mentioned the Equality Index. Can you tell us what that is and how that's being used in our process, particularly how we started in that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Health and Wellbeing Equality Index is an annual thing that we do, and it's been designed as a tool to assess and benchmark LGBTQ plus inclusive service delivery in the health, wellbeing, and human service provider sector, essentially. So we started with, like I said earlier, surveying the team to do a bit of a gap analysis. And the next step after that was to do our foundation submission. There's set criteria that you participate in and have to provide evidence against for that submission across a whole lot of different areas. And in completing that, we were really lucky to achieve bronze service provider status through the Health and Wellbeing Equality Index through our foundation submission.
So we did the foundation submission and we achieved our bronze tier status. And from there, most recently, so at the beginning of 2025, you put in an advanced submission. So rather than just going for silver, because you're a high achiever, you decided to put in a little bit more, which was called an advanced submission. And so do you want to share what you did? What is an advanced submission? And then what did you get?
Absolutely. So the advanced submission, the framework for the Health and Wellbeing Equality Index, it's really excellent, and it provides you really clear guidelines, to try and deliver on different elements. So the submission looked at our marketing and communications, how we're managing confidentiality in our data, that we're consulting with the LGBTQ plus community of number one importance, our team development and training, that we've got referral pathways for any clients or their families to safe LGBTQ plus providers. It involved risk mitigation and management policies and procedures. We participated in the survey again, the Health and Wellbeing Equality Index staff survey. it really gives invaluable insights for what our impact is of our own initiatives. That's the team's feedback on, are they understanding and, taking on all these new things. And the change from our original one in our foundation submission was really significant to this last one. So, really proud of the team for their growth over that period as well. But we bypassed silver and we got gold service provider status in the advanced submission, which was really exciting. Like you said, I was going for silver, but on the slide, really trying to achieve gold. This work's so important to our service. And I really want to support other speech pathology practices out there and health providers to be putting these things into their practice as well.
And for context, for those who are listening and for our community who are hearing this and who may not be aware about what the different tiers mean, and it is such a huge achievement to bypass silver to go and achieve the gold. But what's really significant when we were sitting on that award presentation, we're a small business, and other services who have achieved this level with the Health Wellbeing and Equality Index. These are whole health services and, large hospitals and really large orgs that, it's so incredible to be able
really
to.
Cool.
It's really cool. And I think that I can really confidently say, and you would have a better idea, Em, but we are one of the only pediatric services, like solely pediatric service, to be, undertaking this process. And I think that this is just so important for our community to know this, is that we recognize the importance of supporting our pediatric clients and families within this LGBTQ community. And so that's, I think, the next steps for us. And so that's what I was wanting to chat with you now about, was about what's next. We're still on this journey. Like I said, we're always refining our systems and processes, and I'd like to lead into what you're going to share and what we want to be doing, but it's about taking it to the next level. So we will continue to refine what we do in-house at A Growing Understanding to ensure that our practices are in line with best practice inclusive care. But I really want to hear from you. What's the next step? How are we going to achieve the next level in this process? Because it is still ongoing, and what's going to be required in order to be able to achieve that next level?
Yeah, I think I really like what you said there, because it truly is about continuous improvement. And, I attend a lot of meetings with this community in the national community of practice. And I really want to share with other health providers what we're doing. It's not about, we've achieved gold tier and we're ahead of the pack or anything like that as well. I'm really open to sharing that. So through the Health and Wellbeing Equality Index and with Pride in Health and Wellbeing, the next stage is to get platinum status, and to get that, you need to maintain your gold status over 3 years. So we will be putting in another submission, which will be due in early 2026 to maintain our gold status. And it's not the same submission, it's showing that in that calendar year, you've been doing all of these things. And then, the hope is to try and achieve that platinum status. But I also really would love to be the service provider of the year, is also another goal out there as well, which is based on the marking criteria from the index. And the service who gets the highest score on the index will be awarded that. So that's definitely something I'm striving to achieve as well.
I have no doubts that we're going to get there, Em. I know that as a part of that, and, as you said, it's going to be about sharing this information with the more broader speech pathology allied health community. It's going to be about elevating the collaboration with the LGBTQ community and our community. So our families are going to be starting to see some calls to action. So we would love to hear from that LGBTQ community that we're engaged with to be able to consult with us and be key stakeholders and be part of the conversation with us to be able to drive change and inclusion. So you'll start to see some of that coming through. We have already started some stakeholder consultation groups, which is just so exciting to be able to see, because at the end of the day, we want to see what's meaningful for the community. We don't claim to speak for the LGBTQ community at all. We see ourselves as allies, and we really want to show up for the LGBTQ community as allies, and to be able to hear and provide a space for your voices. So if this resonates with you, if you're intrigued or interested or passionate about this as much as what we are, this is this small call to action, but you'll see more. Come to us, because we're here with you, and we would love to be able to share some of this a little bit further as we're continuing to undertake our journey too.
Absolutely. It's all about amplifying the community's voices. And, the only way to do that is to connect with the local community. And that's really important to us, that, we're doing it based on understanding and consultation.
That's what our name is, right? It's about growing understanding.
Absolutely.
So, I'm going to put you on the spot for a second, Em, because I know you love that. But I want to ask you if you could share one key practical action that we've brought into a growing understanding that you're really proud of. If there was one thing, I know that there's lots of different things, and some things, and I want you to share this, because I think so much of this sort of work happens behind the scenes, and we're doing our best to be able to share some of that work. But sometimes I'm going to share what one of my really proud things is. But is there one thing that is something that might have happened behind the scenes that has made a difference on the ground that you are really proud of?
So I think something I'm really proud of to see the work we've done in action is feedback from our clients, and one of our young people who felt safe enough to let us know about their gender identity, and, as communication experts, as speech pathologists, to ask us how they can communicate that with their family. And I think that just, it gives me the shivers right now talking about it, because that's what it's all about. And to have those young people in our service feeling safe to talk to us about this stuff, because what we have in place, because of our visible allyship within the clinic, with what our environment looks like, that to me, so proud. That's why we're doing what we're doing. It's having the impact on the people who access the service.
Yeah, so important. Mine is similar. I think the realization for me, and something that I'm really proud of, is our team onboarding. And, just recently we've onboarded some new team members, and we've made some really intentional changes to how we onboard new team members to really reflect that inclusion piece. And some things that I really saw as an adjustment to that onboarding that is tangible, that we can share, is, statements that, create that safe space to be able to share some of the needs of people coming into our team and into our service. And also the documentation that we provide to welcome everyone. So I know that you've created a really beautiful document that goes with all of the onboarding information to our new team members that welcomes people as they are. And so proud of that, to be able to genuinely, warmly accept people for who they are, and for them to know that, even if they weren't already aware, as part of that onboarding. And I love that we can see that not only with our team onboarding, but we're seeing that as part of the onboarding with our families and our clients that are coming through. So I'm really proud of those bits, because it does. And again, it's the feedback that we receive about how supportive that is, regardless of how you identify
who you are or where you're coming from. Yeah. Absolutely.
So we're sharing this podcast episode as part of Pride Month, and we are wanting to share more broadly some of the things that we're doing to be able to support the LGBTQ community. As I said, there's a call to action. If you are inspired, supported, encouraged, passionate about this space, we would really love to connect with you and to be able to include you as part of that stakeholder consultation. We would also really warmly welcome your feedback about how you're feeling about some of the actions that we're taking in this space. So thanks for listening to Em and I chat through some of this today. Em, is there anything else that you wanted to add about what we've discussed today and in this space?
No, I just want to say happy Pride Month to the whole LGBTQ plus community. I hope June is a fabulous month of celebrations for you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks
you. Thanks for listening to Growing Up with a Growing Understanding Speech Pathology. We love helping families navigate their parenting concerns and ensuring your child can grow and achieve. Please rate and review wherever you're listening so we can continue to grow together.